Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Grey Remnant here. Today we're doing another movie review, the second movie review in the history of the world. Well, not in the history of the world, in the history for me. Today I'm reviewing Jurassic World, that's right. Everything is spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, please turn around and run. Run far away. Run to your nearest bomb shelter immediately and barricade yourself in it. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. We're going to talk about things like plot holes and plot contrivances, and we're going to talk about dumb writing. Maybe some good things, but I think it's going to be profoundly negative things. Alright, so for those of you out there who are going to walk into this film with a can't be worse than the sequels attitude, I know it sounds impossible to outdo the suckiness of The Lost World in Jurassic Park 3, but trust me, it's possible, okay? Take the opening scene of Jurassic World, for example. The opening credits flash across the screen, and lo and behold, the movie starts with the worst thing you could possibly imagine. That's right, the T-Rex, the original T-Rex, the one from the first film, is getting an abortion. I know, it's horrifying, but bear with me. Turns out that old Rexy was knocked up by the Spinosaurus after the events of the first film. I'll have you know it was not consensual. It was in fact rape, and Spiny was apprehended and put on the National Sex Offender List. He's under house arrest now, which is why he's not in the film. So if you're wondering where the Spinosaurus is, he's under house arrest. Okay, fine, that's not how the film starts, but now I've given you a scenario that's far worse than any of the content of the other two previous films. So now you know to keep your expectations in check. Alright? It might be horrible, you don't know. But the film actually starts with an homage to the original. You have like an egg hatching scene, you've got these two eggs, and under the pale white shells emerges some raptor-esque baby dinosaurs. Cut to black. Of course, this is the point where you have to be exposed to one thing that prevented the original Jurassic Park from being the best film ever made in the history of mankind. Children. Why must there always be children? Can we just do this with an entirely adult cast? What's wrong with you people? I mean, let's go back. Let's go back and backtrack. Let's backtrack through the sands of time. Jurassic Park, little girl hacks into a state-of-the-art security system while mumbling something about unicycles. I don't know what was up with that. The Lost World, little girl kills a velociraptor with gymnastics skills. I still haven't recovered from that scene. Jurassic Park 3, little kid survives for weeks on an island filled with dinosaurs with genius-level intellect and survival skills. Then he gets reunited with his parents and immediately becomes a total idiot by continuously putting himself and others into dangerous situations. So of course, Jurassic World, we gotta have more kids. They're the best part. Isn't that what you want? No, that's not what I want. I don't know. Get rid of them. Why the writers of these films continuously sabotage themselves in this way is beyond me. Maybe they legitimately want the films to fail. I don't know. Nor do I want to know. It really doesn't matter anymore to me. But what matters is that these kids are so funny. They're a riot. They really are. Did you detect my note of sarcasm there? They're not. They are annoying, as all children are. It's like, just get to the dinosaurs already. So the kids' awesome parents send them on an awesome trip to visit an awesome island filled with awesome dinosaurs where they can hang out with their awesome aunt for a week. Are you thrilled yet? I'm thrilled. Turns out their aunt is actually the manager of the island, so I'm sure they're going to be in good hands. What could possibly... Unless, of course, she's completely busy and doesn't really like kids that much and decides to just put her incompetent assistant in charge of them for the day, which is exactly the case. Let's move on from this silly kitty crap and get to the main attraction, velociraptors. Yes, the most terrifying and diabolical monsters from the first three films, a force of terror and savage destruction. These once fearsome beasts can be seen in Jurassic World being trained like little puppy dogs. Thanks for that, Trevor Rao, or whatever your name is. I really appreciate that. Now, I'm not saying that training velociraptors is scientifically inaccurate. It's perfectly within the realm of possibility. It's not a factual error, it's just stupid. Why sabotage what was a source of fear and turn it into a silly plot point? Why? It's a dumb idea. It's only there to serve the overall plot. What is the overall plot, you might ask? It is something so mind-blowingly fresh and original. It's gonna blow you. Just kidding. It's a stupid cliche plot that you've seen a million times. Turns out that InGen, you remember those guys from the... Yeah, InGen, yeah. They're trying to train the Velociraptors so they can be used in military combat in the Middle East. Smart. What could go wrong there? I mean, that's not really... Nothing's gonna happen. That's a good idea. Not really. Who's in charge of training the Velociraptors? Oh, that would be Owen Grady, who's basically the same lovable badass Chris Pratt always plays. There's no twist. He's basically Star-Lord with a rifle instead of laser blasters. That's what he is. And who's the evil maniac who's trying to turn the raptors into soldiers? That would be Vic Hoskins, who's played by that psychotic fat guy from Full Metal Jacket. Yeah. Private Pyle, I believe. He's very naive, and he's so set on achieving his goal that he ignores everything everybody says throughout the entire film. He hears none of it. He apparently only listens to the voice inside his head. At one point, he even compares the Velociraptors to wolves. That's a great outlook to have. It's going to really serve him well. No, it's not. But Star-Lord isn't so convinced that the raptors can be trained so easily and sent to Iraq or wherever, Syria, I don't know. So he tells Fatty that he's out of his mind, but Fatty won't listen. He never listens to anything besides the voices in his head. Then calamity strikes when one of the attendants tries to use what I imagine is a catch-all pole to rescue a pig that's found itself loose in the Velociraptor pen. I don't know how the pig ended up there. That bit is still a mystery to me. But of course, this results in the raptors pulling this douchebag off the platform, and he goes plummeting down into the pit, where he's met with the hungry raptors. Why somebody would risk their lives to save a pig, something that's probably the raptor's main diet anyway, is beyond me. But let's just move past that. Maybe he was an idiot. Well, him or the writers, or both. Probably both. But that doesn't matter. Star-Lord uses his raptor whispering skills to save the idiots, while further encouraging Fatty that training raptors is a good idea. Yeah, that would be great in desert warfare. Not. No, Fatty, it's not a good idea. It's the dumbest idea in the history of film. What's wrong with you? And now we cut straight to Claire, the delightful aforementioned aunt of the two idiotic children that are going to derail the film later on. She's got all the personality and charm of a wet carrot. She has no social skills, which is evident by the scene where she awkwardly greets her nephews, who she clearly knows nothing about. Claire's busy doing science stuff, which is mostly highly classified. You can't know. No, it's not your business yet. Obviously, they can't give away the whole plot, so they say everything's classified. But we are able to ascertain that Dr. Henry Wu, you remember that guy from the first film? The guy who thought nothing bad was going to happen and was then proven wrong? He's doing the exact same thing he was doing in the first film, waiting to be proven wrong yet again. Only this time he's created a monstrosity the likes of which we've never seen. Yes, he's created the Indominus Rex. A dinosaur that has been designed for the express purpose of being extremely scary. I guess. That's what it was designed for. It's equipped with the DNA of a T-Rex and several other species that aren't important for anyone to know. I guess only Dr. Wu knows. Yeah, the lack of information sharing probably won't result in horrifying calamity. Probably. Or will it? So Claire escorts the owner of Jurassic World, Simon Masrani, a man who speaks near gibberish and mumbles throughout most of the film. I couldn't understand a word he was saying most of the time. Totally honest, I'm not joking here. I really couldn't. He wants to see his new dinosaur. He flies the helicopter, of course, because billionaires never have a pilot or anyone to do that for them. I think it's even mentioned offhand that he doesn't even have a piloting license. So it begs the question, why is he flying the helicopter? I mean, it's evident that he doesn't have a license, considering that the aircraft bobs back and forth. He's piloting it like a drunken idiot. I could pilot a helicopter better than that, in Grand Theft Auto at least. Nevertheless, they go to the Indominus Rex paddock, which doesn't have electrical fences or barbed wire or anything. It's literally just a 40-foot concrete wall. What could possibly go wrong? It's not like Indominus has opposable thumbs or anything, right? It's not like you could just climb out. I mean, that's not gonna... Oh god. But anyway, Masrani is worried that they haven't thought of everything in regards to the paddock containment mechanisms, which apparently is gravity and nothing else at this moment. It's really there isn't any, so I don't know. There's even like this glass pane like in the observation room that's like cracked because Indominus, I guess, like smashes his headbutts it repeatedly. Nobody seems worried about it. It's really odd. Masrani suggests that Claire brings Star-Lord to the IREX paddock to investigate it and see if any improvements can be made. Yeah, that's right. An animal trainer is brought in to make suggestions on security protocol. That doesn't make any sense. That would be something that we would call a tenuous decision that a person would make to introduce a periphery character into the main plot. In other words, poor writing. But get used to that. It happens a lot in this film. So Claire invites Star-Lord, who's also her ex-boyfriend, nobody cares, to go up to the cage and make some suggestions on how to improve what is currently a concrete wall. So they go back to the IREX cage, but guess what? The IREX isn't there. So they run an infrared scan of the enclosure, but it detects nothing. So Star-Lord is just like, there's some claw marks on the wall there. And they're all like, oh no, it climbed out. Well, that's the only explanation. That's the only conclusion they could come to, is that the IREX has scaled the wall and escaped. There's just no other explanation. I mean, it's not like there are species of frogs that can hide their thermal signature. It's not like the dinosaurs have frog DNA spliced into their genome. It's not like the exact same situation happened in the first film, where the dinosaurs spontaneously switch genders because of their frog DNA. It's not like that happened. Here's my question. Why are the scientists so stupid? I mean, you would think that after the incident on the island 22 years ago, they would thoroughly examine the traits of frogs and use them to predict, undesired traits of the dinosaur. No, not at all. No, they have not considered that at not one moment in the past 22 years has been spent considering that possibility. No. They have not learned. They just don't care. But fear not, because the scientists were smart enough to implant a tracking device in the IREX. That's right, it's got a tracking device. Unfortunately, they weren't smart enough to make the device trackable from the IREX paddock. You have to go to the main control room for that, which is like several miles away. So Claire gets into her car and drives back to the control room while calling them on her cell phone. Why doesn't she just call them from the cave? Why doesn't she just call them from the... No? Weird? I don't... Simultaneously, Star-Lord thinks it's a good idea to enter the cage with a couple of maintenance guys. Makes sense. I mean, instead of evacuating the island due to the apparent escape of a gigantic killing machine, they decide to conduct a Sherlock Holmes-esque investigation to ascertain how the IREX escaped. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it climbed over the wall. You see the claw marks? You don't have to go up for a closer look. It's perfectly apparent from the safety of the control room. No? Really? We have to? Are you sure? Yes? So the guys over at the main control room bring up Indominus's tracking signal, and guess what? She's still in the cage. Yeah. Problem solved. Well, it would have been solved if Star-Lord hadn't deemed it necessary to go up close and rub his hand against the claw marks on the wall. I don't know what that solves. I don't know why that was... But, not sure why he did that, but nevertheless, now he and the two other dudes are in a perilous situation of danger and despair. Yes. So Star-Lord does the first sensible thing he's done in the whole film. He runs for the gate. But unfortunately, Indominus jumps out of the bushes. It's like, surprise, motherfucker! And he eats one of the fatter maintenance guys. Yeah. And while he's eating him, Star-Lord and the other guy manage to get out of the cage. That's good. So they escape. But Indominus breaks through the gate and eats the other fat maintenance guy. But Star-Lord, now he's a genius. I mean, before he was a complete idiot going up to rub his hand on the wall like, this tells us something. Now he's a genius because he cuts the fuel line underneath a car and douses himself with it to hide his scent, and he manages to evade the Indominus Rex by doing that. Suddenly he's a genius. I don't know what happened. Just like a lapse of stupidity, I guess. I don't know. So now Indominus is on the loose, in a part of the island populated with kayakers and people riding around in these gyrospheres. You would think now would be a good time to evacuate them. No, we're not evacuating yet. No, we're sending a SWAT team. I've just learned that we're sending a SWAT team and evacuating everyone. That's what? Just the SWAT team? We're not evacuating. It's just the SWAT team. It's okay. We're not evacuating yet. Are you sure? We're sure. Okay. They don't evacuate, which is odd. I mean, you're sending a SWAT team in. That means that, the shit is about to go down. There's going to be gunfire and death, and you're not going to evacuate anyone. I don't understand. But, yes, apparently they're so confident that the SWAT team will succeed, that they send the SWAT team with tasers and net launchers to apprehend this 50-foot-long super predator. No guns with lethal ammunition. No rocket launchers. Just tasers. That'll work. That'll do it. Of course, the SWAT team closes in on the tracking signal only to find that the Indominus has torn it out. But not only does it tear it out, she also uses it as bait to lure them. It's like this big chunk of flesh with a tracking signal in it that she just puts it on the ground, and the SWAT team goes up. It's, oh, what's this? And then Indominus apparently also has camouflage, and it's just like waiting for them there. And it just grabs the one guy, just like throws him, steps on him. Yes, it turns out that not only does the I-Rex have insane levels of intelligence, it also has camouflage abilities. A bloody massacre ensues. What do you want? Yeah, the SWAT team tries shooting it with tasers. No effect at all. You would think that they would have known that going in, but they didn't. Masrani doesn't like this. He's kind of like, well, what the hell is going on here? This dinosaur is invisible now? He goes down to Dr. Wu. He's like, Dr. Wu, what the hell is going on here? Dr. Wu's like, oh, we may have put cuttlefish DNA in it. We may have accidentally given it the ability to turn invisible. Why would you do that? It has something to do with growth rates. I don't know. Now, why they had to use cuttlefish DNA to regulate its metabolism when they could have just gotten the same gene for pretty much 1,000 other species is beyond me. Why did you have to use cuttlefish? So you would think they would learn by now. You can't put just any DNA in it, otherwise it's going to have unintended side effects. Like dinosaurs randomly switching genders and then mating. Remember that in the first film? No? You were in the first film, Dr. Wu. What's wrong with you? And why don't you disclose this information to anybody? Why is it not? It's like you don't tell the people the people who are in charge of this animal. It's like, hey guys, the I-Rex may spontaneously turn invisible from time to time. Don't worry about that. That's normal. That's completely normal. No, none of this information is shared. None. It's like, oh, why didn't you disclose it to the SWAT team at least? You sent them into a horrific onslaught for no reason. Why was Indominus's tracking implant not detectable from the paddock control room? Why was the implant not equipped with an internal tranquilizer delivery system? Kind of like how people with diabetes have those insulin pumps. Why didn't it have that? This is 2015. You would think they have the technology to do stuff like that. No? Now, of course, now is the time that they decide to evacuate the northern half of the island. This would be the area where those two annoying kids are. Those two kids who will not be named because I hate them. Before the evacuation call, they managed to board the last gyrosphere and they go like trekking in it. Too bad Claire didn't evacuate 10 minutes earlier when she could have, and that whole thing could have been avoided. So the brats are driving around. Jimmy Fallon is there on a screen. I don't know why. They're driving around. They're watching all the herbivores graze and shit. It's all very beautiful. They're like, whoa, this is really cool. But they happen upon a hole in the perimeter fence. Most normal people with any shred of intellect would just drive right past it like, oh, I don't want anything to do with that. But no, these two, this is an opportunity. We're going through. I mean, that gate can't possibly be there for our own safety. There's something awesome on the other side of that gate that we have to see. They're almost immediately attacked by the Indominus Rex. I think it's about like 30 seconds go by before it just completely ambushes them. It's like right there. It's like, oh hey, Indominus is just waiting there. He's like, you will pay for invading my lair. It breaks the gyrosphere open and they kind of like run away and they jump off a small cliff into some water. Just happens to be there because if it wasn't there, they would have been eaten. But yeah. That's lucky. So Claire and Star-Lord set out to rescue them, while the remaining security forces board a helicopter mounted with a machine gun to pursue and take down the Indominus Rex. Now they're not trying to apprehend it, they're trying to kill it. It's like, now we have to kill it. Who's piloting the chopper, you might ask? Masrani, of course. Yes, it turns out that the only person on this island capable of flying the helicopter is the owner. Who, let me remind you, does not have a piloting license. Why do they have a helipad if nobody can fly the helicopter? What magical drugs were the writers on when they wrote this scene? So the two annoying kids, who will not be named, end up in the visitor center from the first film. Remember that place? Yep. It's all broken down. now. It's all abandoned and decrepit and ghastly. They use their amazing ingenuity, which they lacked before when they made that stupid decision, which almost got them killed, to fix one of the old Jeeps and make their escape in it. Yes. So they escape, and then Claire and Star-Lord arrive pretty much like directly after, like immediately after. It's like right there. But the I-Rex is there waiting for them. She's always in the right place at the right time. It's just like she's always there. It's always, oh. And then there's like this standoff where the I-Rex is kind of looking for them, and then they kind of leaves, and they think it left, and then it like breaks through the ceiling. It's like, surprise, motherfucker! Always with the surprises. I don't know. It's weird. But they make their escape, and then the chopper, piloted by Miss Ronnie, that's right, chases Indominus into the aviary where all the pteranodons are, and Indominus goes in and is basically like, get out! So they attack the chopper, for no good reason. I don't know why they would. It makes virtually no sense to me. Causing it to crash into the aviary and explode on impact. Poor Maserati. He died a hero. Oh, wait, no, he didn't. He died a murderer. Why? Because he crashed into the aviary and unleashed a bunch of flying carnivores upon the island. Now a bunch of people are going to die, which, of course, the next scene of the film is the pteranodons massacring a bunch of people. Great, including that woman who was put in charge of the kids at the beginning of the film, who promptly lost them because she was completely incompetent. Yeah, she was actually grabbed by one of the pteranodons, and then the mosasaur... there's a mosasaur in this film, by the way. I can't believe I didn't mention it. It kind of like jumps out of the water and eats both her and the pteranodon simultaneously. I don't know what she did to deserve such a gruesome fate. It's very strange, but yeah, that happens. Why is there a mosasaur in this? I memean, these dinosaurs were generated by mosquitoes. What mosquito bit a mosasaur? They're underwater. That doesn't make sense. But okay, I'll just... Maybe, like, while the mosasaur was, like, jumping out of the water, a mosquito very quickly, like, flew up, bit it, and then flew straight to the forest where it immediately landed on a tree with amber on it. Must have... I mean, that's the only... But, of course, Star-Lord and a bunch of security guards arrive just at the right moment and save the kids by shooting all the flying monsters. They do it very efficiently. I don't think they miss a single round. I think it's just like headshot, 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 clear. So Masrani is dead. The Indominus is still loose. So I guess Fatty is now in charge. Remember Fatty? He decides to call InGen and get a private army dispatched to the island. He comes up with this brilliant plan to use the Velociraptors to track and destroy the I-Rex, which is the dumbest idea ever, but Star-Lord has no choice to comply, so he's like, okay, fine. So Star-Lord and the InGen army follow the Velociraptor pack into the forest, and they close in on the I-Rex. They're in close pursuit. Everyone takes cover and aims their weapons into the forest. They got these laser pointers on. It's like, whoa. And they're waiting for Indominus to emerge from the trees, and then they'll shoot it and kill it. Very promptly, Indominus walks out of the shrubbery and stands right in front of everyone, and they open fire and they kill it. The end. Credits roll. What? They don't open fire? They just sit there and stare for like 30 seconds? Are you kidding me? Yes. Okay, so apparently no. Credit not the end. The story continues. They don't shoot it. They just sit there and stare for 30 seconds. I guess everyone, including Star-Lord, suffers a small lapse in attention for about half a minute while the I-Rex communicates with the Raptor Pack and convinces them to turn and attack the humans. Star-Lord comes to the realization that Indominus must be part raptor, and then comes to the realization that he's a complete moron for not shooting at it. So the team opens fire, but it's too late. Indominus escapes, and the Raptor Pack turns and kills everyone. Oh, but somebody manages to kill a raptor with a rocket launcher. Overkill much? I mean, that's interesting. Interesting choice of weaponry. Star-Lord gets away and heads back to the raptor paddock, where everyone else is waiting. Claire and the dumb kids are just hanging out. The raptors attack, and then they drive away in an armored van. And one of the kids shocks the raptors with a taser and incapacitates it. My God. It's like the gymnastics scene all over again. I thought we were done with that. I thought they learned their lesson after the second movie. No. We still have kids shocking raptors and killing raptors with gymnastics and shit. Wow. So they all head back to the laboratory where they find that Dr. Wu has escaped with all the embryos and all the DNA. That's right, he has all the DNA, including, I'm guessing, the raptor and the I-Rex DNA. And Fatty then confronts them and babbles about evolution and science and stuff, and then a raptor immediately breaks into the room and eats him in a violent manner. And then the raptor dies immediately of a heart attack. All the fat put her into immediate cardiac arrest. Okay, that was a bit mean at Fatty's expense, but I think it was worth it. So Star-Lord, Claire, and the idiot children run out to the plaza, where they're confronted by the 3 remaining raptors, but Star-Lord uses his raptor whispering skills to reestablish himself as leader of the pack, but Indominus arrives to crash the party. So I guess Star-Lord kind of convinces the Raptors to attack the I-Rex, which is a dumb idea, because they're quickly picked off by the I-Rex, and yeah, they don't really stand much of a chance. I mean, they didn't stand much of a chance against the T-Rex in the first film, so why would they stand a chance against a genetically modified weapon of mass destruction? I don't know why they wouldn't. But of course, this is when it happens. That moment. You knew it was coming. The Unix system moment. Yep. The younger of the 2 kids turns to Claire and says, "We need more teeth." Now, I'm not a Hollywood writer. I don't have expertise in this field, but I think I'm correct when I say that's the dumbest line ever written in the history of film. It's so dumb that it makes the Unix system moment look Oscar-worthy in comparison. It really does. We need more teeth? Really? That's the best you could do?
It's a Unix system. We need more teeth. Duh.
What in the hell is this shit? Oh, I can't say I'm not surprised, but I wish I had seen it coming because it was devastating. Claire interprets this moronic phrase as, "Let's go get the T-Rex and have it fight the I-Rex." Of course. Why couldn't the kid have just said that? Why did he have to turn it into the dumbest utterance ever? Why? So in a move that everybody predicted 6 months ago, the T-Rex and the I-Rex do battle. Claire releases it from its cage and then outruns it while wearing high heels. Yeah, she outruns the T-Rex for a little bit, which is odd because I seem to remember the T-Rex being very fast. Maybe it's because it's so elderly, because I think the T-Rex must have been like 14 in the first film because it was an adult T-Rex. I think the T-Rexes reach adulthood at 14 years. And so 22 years have passed, which makes the T-Rex 36. And T-Rexes are supposed to have a lifespan of 30, so it's very elderly at this point. So one of the raptors somehow survived the previous fight. I don't really remember how. I guess it just kind of got like thrown and I don't know, it was just knocked out. It joins in too, and it fights with the T-Rex. They fight peacefully together. I don't know why they would. They just do. They batter the I-Rex and beat him and kind of like punch him around, and then they force him to the Mosasaur tank where the Mosasaur just jumps out and just like kills him and drags him back into the water at the last moment. Also predicted 6 months ago. Most predictable ending ever. And the Raptors and the T-Rex part ways without any violence. They just kind of like look at each other and just nod and just like leave. And that's just odd considering their history. Everyone lives happily ever after. The end. Done. Are you happy? I summarized this piece of trash of a film for you. For your own enjoyment. You're welcome. So let's summarize. What have we learned from this film? Let's divide it into pros and cons first. So pros. What do we have? It's entertaining. As long as you turn your brain off, it's entertaining. The CGI is decent, pleasantly, though there's no practical effects like we were promised. So I don't know what that was. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna use lots of practical effects. No, they're not. Chris Pratt is lovable, as he always is, but that's not a surprise, you know? I mean, he plays the same character he's always played, so he's Star-Lord, as he always is. I think those are the pros. Let's move on to the cons, of which there are many. The first con, everybody besides Chris Pratt is either mediocre or below average in terms of acting. Vincent D'Onofrio was okay, but he was just kind of like a goofball the entire time. He really was. He wasn't much of a villain. He was just kind of like, oh yeah, let's do Raptors, oh! He's just so enthusiastic and he just gets eaten by one. It's so stupid. The soundtrack is banal. Like they use kind of the soundtrack from the original and then some generic themes added to it. It's really kind of not memorable. The Raptors are turned into circus animals, which is not a good decision thematically. They're supposed to be terrifying monsters. When they start as circus animals, then they revert to terrifying monsters for a brief period, and then they return to being circus animals in the end. So it's kind of just like they just jerk you around with the Raptors. Oh, and the story is complete and utter garbage. 14 years. 14 years was spent developing this film. Yeah, 14 years. This is the best they could come up with? Really? 14 years should have generated something better. Plot holes, there were a few. I would say there were 3 plot holes to speak of. First plot hole is the Indominus escape scene doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Nobody knew that it could camouflage, they went in for no reason. Nobody evacuated the island when they should have. It's just absolute garbage. I don't know what happened there. Basically, the only way that Indominus could have escaped from its cage, there were two ways. One is through purposeful sabotage, like with Dennis's character from the first film. The other way was through a plot hole, and in this case, they chose plot hole. Second plot hole, the owner of the island is apparently the only person who can fly a helicopter. Odd, but I don't really understand why he was flying that helicopter. And the third and most important plot hole that really, really blew my mind when I saw it in the theater. A team of mercenaries tasked with killing the I-Rex sit still and stare for a full half minute while the I-Rex is sitting right in front of them. They sit there and they're just like, and then the black guy is just like, something's wrong. They're communicating. What? Open fire! What is wrong with you people? It's right there. Kill it. No. One of them's got a rocket launcher. It's just a shooter with a rocket launcher. Dead. Unbelievable. I think that's all the plot holes, but there are also minor plot contrivances that I think I should list. They're not full-blown plot holes, but they're still, pretty aggravating in the grand scheme of things. One, all of the scientists failed to do anything correctly throughout the film, at the expense of everyone else's safety. That was just written in there so that every disaster that could possibly happen happened. Why does nobody know anything about the Indominus Rex? Why is it all classified? You would think that there are things that people should know. Like the fact that it could turn invisible and hide its thermal signature. Oh, and has opposable thumbs. Maybe we should have outfitted the cage with something other than a 40-foot concrete wall and nothing else. You would think that they would invest more in keeping the most dangerous animal on the island from breaking out of its cage. You think they would. They have the money, clearly. Third plot contrivance, Indominus walks free amongst tourists, yet no evacuation order is given until a significant period of time passes. Yeah, that's great. Then you've got dumb children who almost got themselves killed due to incredibly stupid decisions who then somehow possess the ability to repair a 22-year-old junk Jeep and escape in it. Wow. Indominus is always in the perfect spot to attack someone. It's always there. It's a big island. Why is it always in the perfect spot? It's odd. I don't know. And then finally, an elderly T-Rex and a lone raptor successfully defeat a genetically modified weapon of mass destruction by working together in perfect, peaceful harmony. I'm not buying it. There's no way it would have worked. It would have been a colossal failure. Indominus would have eaten the raptors. It would have killed the T-Rex. That would have been it. It would have killed the people, and it would have been over. Overall, this wasn't a dull film. It was full of action and very absorbing. It just wasn't an intelligent film. The writers took shortcuts to move the plot in directions they wanted it to go, and most of the characters fluctuated from utter moron to complete genius throughout the film. Back and forth. Duh. Oh, I have an idea. That's a brilliant idea. And then they're just sitting there staring at the I-Rex like, what do we do? Well, I guess we should shoot it, maybe, because we're holding guns. We're pointing. It's just... The acting was relatively dull, with the exception of Chris Pratt and maybe Vincent D'Onofrio. But Chris Pratt, he cheated. He played a character he's played over and over. So of course he's going to be good. Most everyone else was uttering cringeworthy dialogue throughout the film. It was just like,
oh, we need more teeth.
It was worse than Unix system. My God. Story is cliche, uninteresting, full of moronic plot holes that shouldn't be in any film. The idea to turn the raptors into tameable teddy bear creatures was a terrible decision. It turned potentially horrifying moments into a waste of time. Couple that with the worst Deus Ex Machina ever, and you have a mess. It's just a complete and utter mess from start to finish. The most damning part of the film is that the writers spent 14 years developing it. They spent 14 years developing a story with a dinosaur written to be smarter than the writers themselves. Indominus possesses all the wit and clever thinking that you could possibly need to write a terrific screenplay. Next time, write a smarter story with a dumber dinosaur. It's very simple. Verdict? I don't know. What do I give this one? I don't know. This is a tough one to give because while I think it was entertaining, it was just full of shit. And I can't forgive it. I really can't. I can't forgive all the shit. I'll give it 2 out of 4. 2 out of 4 stars. Then that's being extremely generous because I didn't hate the film. I hated fragments of it. You know what I mean? It's easy for me to sit here and cherry pick what I didn't like. I think Jurassic World is less of a letdown than either of its predecessors. I'd say it's better than The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3. It's just nowhere near to the quality of the original. It's not. No. It doesn't even come close. But we all knew that coming in. This film is going to go down in history bunched together with the other two sequels. It's not going to be considered to be a redemption of any kind. It doesn't redeem the franchise. It's a little bit better than the previous two. But to be fair, the previous two are complete and utter failures. I mean, in every way. So, I know what that... I really don't know what to tell you. But yeah, there you go. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video because I spent some time rambling about this crap. If you liked it, please do give it a like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your friends. You can also read a blog version of this on PMC. The link is in the description. If you liked it on PMC, if you're watching this on PMC, please give it a diamond. And go see the film if you want. I mean, it's a popcorn thriller. It's a summer blockbuster. It's nothing like the original. You're not going to sit and think and be absorbed the way you were in the original. Okay? But to be fair, it's not as bad as Jurassic Park 3. So... I mean, that's a completely accurate summary of what this film was. Terrible writing, full of plot holes, but it's enjoyable to watch. As long as you turn your brain off. If you turn your brain off, this is just great. So, yeah. So, that's it. I will see you guys again in the next review, which will, I guess, be Terminator Genesis or Ant-Man, whichever one comes out first. So, I'll see you guys then. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Good day.